perhaps one of the oldest nootropics in the book, one of the most well-studied, one of the most versatilely used, one of the most instantly effective and very noticeable nootropics that you can take that's been around for a very long time is a little-known cholinesterase inhibitor called huperzine A. Now look, when you take a nootropic, you want to feel it. You want to notice that it's giving you brain performance, and you want to be cognitively better when you do work. Huperzine A delivers that almost all the time for almost everybody. But there is a strategy to dosing it the right way so that you get seamlessly, continuously epic benefits from it. You don't run into side effects and you have a smooth time. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. So we've extended the holiday specials through the new year, probably end somewhere around January 15th. That's 20% off the courses that I just launched. By the way, if you want a list of nootropic stacks targeted for every brain state, that's what Nootropics Mastery is about. Code for that, 20% off is 20 now. Torque Nootropic Stack, 25% off. Code for this is 25 Torque. Cortex Nootropic Stack, 25% off. Code for that is 25 Cortex. Lastly, I just dropped the price for the TRT protocol optimization consultation, as well as the targeted 25-minute email advice consultation. Okay. All right. So these are cheaper now. They're going back to their original price, which is a couple $100 very soon. So go book with me now. Links are in the description of the video. So huperzine A is like one of the oldest and most well-studied and traditionally or classically used choline esterase inhibitor nootropic that basically blocks the enzyme that breaks acetylcholine down, right? So you end up accumulating more of it. Now, there are many drugs that do a similar thing to different neurotransmitters. In some sense, Adderall is somewhat like that because it blocks the dopamine transporters, allowing more dopamine to accumulate, and then you get that dopaminergic state when you take it. Huperzine A is the same thing, but for, arguably a more potent neurotransmitter for focus, verbal fluency, and computing power, and that's acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the target for many, many nootropics, all of the racetams, Noopept, obviously all the choline sources, chemicals like Alcar. So you modify that transmitter, that is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck in nootropics, generally speaking. Now, there is no shortage of studies that show the major cognitive benefit of people taking huperzine A, especially in context of cognitive decline. And on a pretty long paper about Huperzia serrata or huperzine A on Science Direct, they go one double-blind clinical study found that huperzine A at a dose of 200 micrograms twice a day produced measurable improvements in memory, cognitive function, and behavioral factors in 58% of Alzheimer's patients. Now we're going to talk about how to dose it, because for the ordinary person that doesn't have a neurodegenerative disease, that's too high of a dose, right? You got to dose this stuff carefully, which I'm going to get to. But what does huperzine A even do? We should go to the nootropics subreddit just to see people's anecdotals. This is a thread titled, "What are your experiences with huperzine A?" Guy goes, "I'm thinking of getting huperzine A to help boost my focus and help me study. What are your guys' thoughts on this?" And people in the comments section are definitely weighing in. This guy, I like it. Gives me a nice smooth... Oh, okay. Yes, I'm over 18. Why did you already ask me that? Anyway, gives me a nice smooth focus together with calmness, sometimes also mild stimulation. Maybe, and I feel it increases mental stamina, can focus for longer even if I'm feeling tired. Yeah, that's generally the effect that I get. Everything that I do cognitive processing wise is a lot easier, just much more upgraded. If I'm writing a course, even putting together a video, right? Because it takes the formatting and doing all the research that you guys don't see in the background. It takes cognitive function. Huperzine A is pretty epic for that. Oats and Whey says, noticeable increase in attention and focus, almost too stimulating. I tried it but didn't care for it. So again, the stimulation, because you're hyping up an excitatory neurotransmitter that should give your brain some pretty profound energy, is noticeable. It's a noticeable nootropic. Again, you want that in a chemical that you're going to be taking to make your brain function good. You want to notice it. You definitely want to notice it. And huperzine A is one of those compounds. This guy, apart from L-theanine, it is pretty much the only nootropic I still use. I will still take a single 200 microgram tablet in the morning. I never take 2 days in a row. It just seems to make me edgy. Yeah, good point. We're going to get to that too. This guy, I had a pretty good response. Really did feel like it helped my memory after consistent use. Once per day will do the trick. It has a fairly long duration. Don't overdo it. So interestingly, okay, so that's generally how huperzine A affects you. Improvement in cognitive process. It's almost like taking PRL 853 or Noopept if you can get the dose right, or something like Hydra 21, but better. In this Science Direct article, there's a bunch of different benefits that they lay out that Huperzia serrata which is kind of the nomenclature name for huperzine A, execute. One of them is better penetration through the BBB. That's up here on the top of this circle. That's the blood-brain barrier. I mean, you want compounds to be able to penetrate that barrier to actually be active in your brain quickly. Interestingly, and not a lot of people knew about this, increases nerve growth factor levels, right? That's an isolated repair protein that like this Italian Nobel laureate found in like 1950 that is very important for kind of maintaining brain function. If you get higher levels of it in a regular brain, your brain's going to function better. Widely used for Alzheimer's disease therapy in China, also in America, utilized for enhancing memory, mental function in people without Alzheimer's disease. Okay, so that applies to us people that are looking for the edge. Alleviates apoptotic changes induced by beta amyloid plaques. That's the Alzheimer's plaques. And it has a longer duration of acetylcholinesterase inhibition than some of the other cholinesterase chemicals, namely galantamine. Now, here's something really interesting. Huperzine A at 0.04 milligrams a day, which is 40 micrograms, I believe, significantly improved memory deficits in elderly people with benign senescent forgetfulness. So not people with Alzheimer's disease. They go and patients with Alzheimer's disease, but also just regular people that have memory deficits. So how many, regular folks throughout their day, if cognition isn't straight, have memory deficits? They also say minimal peripheral cholinergic side effects and no unexpected toxicity. So let's talk about how to correctly dose this stuff, because as you might have seen that I'm somewhat alluding to, like, you got to be careful with huperzine A because it's a very, very potent compound. Any of the really, really strong compounds, and there's really not many of them that are this strong, you just have to tread a little lightly. The suggested dose is between 200 and 400 micrograms, all right? Which means, and honestly, the best way to dose huperzine A so that you're accurate on dosing is to just get 200 microgram tablets and get a pill cutter and split them in fourths, because then you have a perfect dose of 50 micrograms in each kind of sliver of that tablet. My starter recommendation for dosing huperzine A would be to start with 50 micrograms. Okay, that just makes it super easy. It's a lower dose, but still an effective dose. Again, this stuff is potent. You want to respect it like you respect tequila.
Too much drinking, aye?
50 micrograms down the hatch, see how you fare. Within 30, 40 minutes, it kind of takes a little longer than, classical nootropics to onset because it's just doing different things. You're going to start noticing it. Like, just get down to doing work, right? Start doing whatever it is that you task yourself to do for the day. Start executing on your to-do list, and you're going to notice things flow better, right? It's easier to move to the next task. Like, you can put things in and out of your memory easier. You can reference memory easier. You'll probably be more verbally fluent. Generally, you're going to have more energy. Now, look, can you go up to the whole 200 micrograms, which is really the highest tolerable dose for most folks, and I wouldn't really suggest going above? You certainly can. This is going to depend on like your body weight, how you tolerate certain drugs, how you metabolize certain compounds, and whether or not you really need optimization to the system that huperzine A works on. The most intelligent way to do this, to dose upwards, would be in 50 microgram increments, right? So you have your 200 microgram tablet that's split up into fourths. You start at one, sliver of that, 1/4 of that tablet, which is 50 micrograms, and you have an experience. You see how good you function and kind of just analyze how you feel. Next time that you dose huperzine A, though, if you want to dose it up, you just take 2/4 of, your 4/4 of that 200 micrograms tablet, which is split in fourths, and that's 100 micrograms. I think therein people are going to find like their perfect dose where you don't get side effects and you function really great. The trouble with huperzine A, because it's such a powerful, long-lasting choline esterase inhibitor, is that if you take too much of it, you're going to have too much acetylcholine, and there is a point of diminishing returns where you actually get side effects like nausea. You might feel a little loopy. That's why you want to start low, where you're guaranteed not to have side effects, which is 50 micrograms. Now, some people that use huperzine A take it every other day or take it 3 times a week at 150 micrograms or the full 200 micrograms. Like, the determinant on whether or not you'll respond negatively or positively to, the 150 to 200 microgram dose range, it's up in the air, right? So like, if you respond fine to 100 and you feel like performance can be better, then go to 150 micrograms or maybe 200 micrograms and see where you go. For most people, even in that dose range, what you're probably going to get is just excellent cognitive function, like for a long time. I mean, it pretty much lasts all day. So if you want a fully functional brain for for a good degree of the day. That's what Huperzine A is very, very clutch for. Use it when you need your brain to be really functional, not necessarily energized, even though it will give you energy, but you're just kind of a little brain foggy and not able to put things together quickly, but you need to perform. I mean, Huperzine A is a I need to perform type of chemical, because when you take it, you're going to perform. All right, as I said at the beginning, again, biggest discounts so far are the TRT protocol optimization consultation with me. It's down to $99, down from it's down $200 or something. The targeted email advice. This is send me your issues, send me your labs, send me your concerns, send me your questions, and have me craft a full-on response back to you about what I would do, protocols, strategies, etc. These are discounted right now, livecortex.com. Same thing with Torque. All-day energy nootropic, very strong for that dopamine level motivation, triggers you to do work, gives you a lot of mental energy. 25% off code for that is 25 Torque. And again, for those of you really, really inquisitive nootropics folks that want to actually learn how to take nootropics and get really good results, I built a course for it. It's called Nootropics Mastery. This thing is 20% off right now. Code for that is 20 now. All right, boys, hope you had a happy new year. Thanks so much for being with me. More content coming this week, so stick around, sub to the channel, like the video. I'd really appreciate if you guys just hit that like button. It makes a big difference. And I will talk to you on the next one.